Alright guys, so today's seminar is about resilience, okay, and I introduced that to you a little bit at the beginning. So we're basically going to get into it now, and you can see underneath the term resilience, actually I need to stand out of the way of that, don't I? You can see underneath the term resilience, in the speech marks, the key foundation of survival and success. Does anyone know what the difference is between survival and success is? Go on.
So survival is like just living in a sense. It's like, if you were to say a human being, it's like getting enough to eat and drink and sleep in a sense. Success would be going forward and having luxuries to an extent.
Having what, sorry?
Like
luxuries.
Or amenities in your life.
Yeah, or flourishing, that kind of thing. Okay, but the two are kind of interlinked, but you can't have success unless you've got the survival in check. Okay, so that's the most important part of it. Okay, so before we carry on, at the beginning of the session, I said to you, I want you to just think about the sensations and the feelings that you're experiencing and the thoughts that you're going through as we're doing some of the training. Anyone want to volunteer some of what they were thinking and feeling during the session? How did you feel during the warm-up, that kind of stuff? Anyone? Go on.
Disappointed.
You felt disappointed in yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I could do more, right?
Okay, so did you maybe think you were fitter than you were?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And often many people, when they come and do boxing training, they often get a rude awakening because they think I was a lot fitter and stronger than I actually am. So, but in many ways that's good because it gives you a bit of a kick up the bum to get started. Anyone else, any thoughts or feelings around how you were feeling kind of when you're doing the push-ups, the sit-ups, when you're doing the plank at the end? How did everyone feel doing the plank at the end? Go on.
I mean, I was a bit happy because at least I could tell that I was doing something about the lack of fitness I had.
Yeah. Who found the plank easy? Anyone find the plank easy? No? Did you all find it hard?
Yes.
Who managed to hold it for the whole minute? You hold it for the whole minute? You held it for the whole minute? Yeah? How did you find the plank?
Very hard.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So these are just things I want you to think about, okay, when we were doing the physical training, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. Okay? So, resilience. Any ideas on what resilience is? Go on.
The ability to push through a task, that's the one you will give it to you.
Okay. Any other ideas? Come on. I want you to engage with the session. Doesn't matter if what you say is wrong. I just want you to try and say something. Try and engage.
Carrying on with something even though you feel like giving up.
Yep. Good. Any other ideas? No? Okay, so basically you are spot on. The Oxford Dictionary definition of resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties, or you could call it toughness, okay? Does anyone know why this is important? Go on.
I would say resilience is important in many things in life because someone who lacks that can't get through things when they're going, not even extremely tough, but if you have no resilience, even if there's a slight problem, you might give up in a sense. And that limits your growth as a human being.
That's good. So I believe you guys are all here today as part of the Job Centre referral programme, am I correct? Yeah. How are you finding job hunting going?
Rubbish.
Yeah? Yeah? How many kind of jobs have you applied for? Have you applied for any yet? Anything like that?
Since probably July when I graduated, over 300.
Okay, so you've applied for 300 jobs and you haven't had any success with it yet?
That's the ones I listed.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else? How many jobs?
I'm starting in September, but before that, at least 50 like tough ones, and a lot of them I got to like a far stage.
Yeah.
Like the last hurdle, I didn't pass it.
And when you think about the job kind of application process, you know, you've got to scroll through whatever it is Indeed or whatever website is that you go on. You've got to look for the jobs that actually are suitable for you, that you want, that offer the right amount of pay, all that kind of stuff. Then you've got to send your CV into them. Then you've got to wait for the response for them. Then you've got to go to the interview. You've got to sit there. You've got to be grilled by someone you don't even know about why you're suitable for the job. Sometimes they've got multi-phase job interviews where you go in and you do the first phase, then you do the second phase. You get right through to the bloody end and they go, nah, sorry, we'll pick someone else. Do you know what I mean? That process can take a month. I've been there. I understand how it feels, right? It is very frustrating, okay? So, you know, again, this is where resilience comes in because it can be very disheartening. Who's feeling a bit demotivated with the whole job process at the moment? Yeah, you're feeling a bit demotivated with it. Okay, so again, this is where resilience comes in, because it's just that part of you, that deep fighting, that spirit that says, no, I am going to do this, and I'm going to get there, and I'm going to do it. Okay, and sometimes it means taking a bit of a different turn to what you're doing. You might be thinking, right, I'm going to go and work for someone. You might think, actually, screw this, I'm going to set my own business up. Okay, but okay, that's down to you and how you progress forwards. But the important point is that you have the resilience to get through it. And I like to call it the ability to bounce back, okay? Because you get knocked down, boing, you spring back up, nothing can stop you going forwards, okay? Now this brings me on to the next slide, and that is the harsh truth of life, okay? Bad stuff is going to happen, suffering is inevitable. Whatever you do in life, you cannot avoid it, okay? And just some examples of the bad things that will happen, okay? People will sabotage and betray you. Loved ones will pass away. I'll try not to be too morbid. Accident and injuries will happen, okay? You will get sick. Things will go wrong. You might get made redundant. You might not get offered a job for 6 months, whatever. Your car breaks down and your money will be tight and you'll be broke. These are all things that I've been through in my life, okay? And I'm sure things that happen to many people, okay? So no matter what you do, there's always going to be tough things. So the importance of having resilience and being able to dig deep and just keep going forwards is such an important part of not only survival, but success. And again, this is why I mentioned survival and success at the beginning, because surviving is often the hardest part. But once you manage to get that in order, that's when the success comes afterwards. And also, this is all especially true when you seek to level up. Okay, you might think, right, I've started a business, sweet, I've got the funding, I've done this, or for example, I've got the job, sweet, I'm on my road to success now. No, it doesn't stop there, because when you're in a business or you're doing something else, you start to see the worst sides of human nature, because you're competing with other people then. So people sabotage you, they do all this, there's all this politics in the office, or if you're running your own business, you've got your competitors trying to bring you down, all that kind of stuff. So it's really important that you have that mental still mindset in order to get you through. And I've got in the orange box there, you know, do you sit and wallow in self-pity, or do you pick yourself up and carry on? You know, because those are two choices that you're always going to be faced with. And the question is how long do you sit and ruminate on the fact that things are going wrong? And I have put in the bottom there a side note, this does not mean avoid seeking help with mental health. In fact, part of it is, if you are struggling with mental health, that you seek help and you take steps towards that, okay? And again, like with the boxing training, it's a similar aspect, okay? You're thinking, right, I'm feeling low in myself, for whatever reason I'm feeling unfit, unhealthy, you might not be happy with your weight or something like that, okay? By keeping yourself fit and healthy and giving yourself a strong foundation in that sense, you're giving yourself much better weapons to go out and face the adversity that you're going to be facing out in the outside world. And who's seen the film Rocky? Go on, mate. Sorry, mate.
I think it's
Who's seen the film Rocky? Yeah? Anyone not seen it? No? So this is a scene where he's talking to, I think it's his stepson, but he's basically just giving him some advice on life. And it's quite a powerful scene and I really like it. Let me know if anyone can't hear it.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
So, and that was basically just in the scene where he was talking to him about, you know, he was basically saying, look, Dad, I'm struggling, you know, and his dad turned around to him and said, look, you know, you have to go out there and you have to fight for what you want and you have to be tough because life is going to keep hitting you. And that's the same scene again, I don't know why that is, okay? And I just want to give you some kind of anecdotes from my own life as well, because so you don't just think I'm just here preaching from a high place, okay? Things that I've had happen to me in my life, okay, yet I'm still stood here in front of you today giving a seminar on resilience, okay? When I was younger, I was very small for my age. I used to get bullied a lot when I was in school, a lot. That's part of the reason why I started boxing, okay? I struggled in school, in the school system, and with work after that due to ADHD. And ADHD is something that's played a massive part in my life and really caused me a lot of problems. And so I've almost had to find a different way through to the current system in order to be successful. I nearly went to prison, and I was looking at 5 years in prison on a GBH charge, okay, and I was in court for 2.5 years in Crown Court, and I got acquitted of it in the end because it was actually self-defence. But during that period of time, it was probably one of the most difficult periods of my life because I wasn't sure whether I was going to be in prison or whether I was going to be somewhere else. Do you see what I mean? So that took a massive mental toll on me. I've been screwed over by business partners. I had a gym once and I was in business with them. The gym got set up. As soon as it was set up, they kicked me out and said, we don't need you anymore, okay? So I've bought everything I've built up, I put into that at that point, and then they've turned around and then I've been left with nothing. So that was a very difficult point in my life as well. I've had business ideas taken over by larger competitors. So I set up a streaming boxing thing once, got it up to the point where we had 10 to 20,000 viewers tuning in on it. Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing turned around and set up his own live stream and started working with all the promoters that I was working with, and that kind of set me back to square one as well. So and last of all, I've been broke. So there's been points in my life where I've had absolutely no money, okay? So you will just face challenges and lots of these things happen, so you've got to be prepared with going out there to just be, you know, able to pick yourself up and carry on from where you left off. And obviously the next slide, all success is based on a strong foundation of resilience. So you've got to start thinking to yourself, what can I do to make myself mentally stronger? What can I do to give myself the skills and the tools to go out there and be able to deal with what comes at me? And something I like to push a lot is #BeAWarrior, okay? And on the deepest level, this is about fighting personal conflicts that arise in our head, not letting them control us, and also resisting temptations that we know are no good for us. So a lot of people, when they face difficulty, they turn to things like alcohol, they turn to things like drugs, other destructive behaviour. Being able to hold yourself together when you're going through a difficult time is very important to that. And again, this is why I push things like boxing training and fitness training, because, for example, when I'm feeling stressed or something's really pissing me off, I'll go for a run, yeah? Rather than turning to the alcohol or the weed or whatever, I'll go for a run and I process it that way, and I get the endorphins from doing that, and that helps me deal with it. So having ways that you can cope with things and deal with stress is very important to that. So this leads me on to building resilience. And there's what's known as the 7 C's of resilience. First of all is competence, okay? And this is continuously learning and developing new skills that align with your goals and interests, and seeking opportunities for growth, whether through education, training, or pursuing new hobbies. How many of you guys are kind of continuing with your education or learning new skills since you finished university or anything like that?
I am, but not as much as I want to.
Yeah. So, go on. Or you just, yeah.
Because we're in this lecture in a sense.
Yeah, so you're kind of coming in, you're seeking new avenues. Like, the more skills and the more different things you can do, that gives you more areas to draw on from doing things. So for example, like, I do the boxing coaching, but I also do video editing, I also do web design, I also do lots of different little things here and around there. So it enables me to pull things together in unique ways that I wouldn't otherwise able to have been able to do. And then seeking out opportunities for growth. You know, I'm never just sitting there at home, I'm always contacting new people, you know, contacting different organisations and making situations happen. Like, for example, with Get Berkshire Active, you know, I took it off my own back to contact them and speak with them about doing stuff because I saw that there was a funding thing going on, you know. So I've made things happen. If you can't just sit there and expect things to happen and come to you. You've got to be proactive in your approach to how you go about it. Also, just in terms of competence, when you have those skills and you have a certain skill set, that gives you confidence because you know that whatever happens, you can pick yourself back up again. Like I mentioned before, that happened with the gym. You know, I was left with nothing, but I just built myself back up again. Obviously, I wasn't happy about it, you know, but, you know, I'm not worried, I'm not scared, because I know you can take everything from me and I'll still carry on and keep going, yeah? That brings me on to confidence, and as you can see in the first box, that comes with competence. Yeah, the more confident you are in your skill set, the more ability you have to go out and face the world with confidence. And confidence is developed on lots of small wins, okay, built on top of one another. And if you think back to the skipping earlier, some of you could do it really easily, but there's some of you that struggled with it. But I've literally trained kids, okay, who they've come in and they can't even do one skip, yeah? But then over time they stick with it, then they build up to one skip, then they build up to 2 skips, then before you know it they're skipping for 2 minutes like they were just a natural, okay? So every single day, if you can just do a little win, something that says to yourself, I am able to achieve stuff, I am worthy, etc., then you build on that, you will grow in confidence. Other little things like practice self-affirmation, celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, I just mentioned that. Embrace a growth mindset and view failures as learning opportunities, okay? And this is the other part of it as well, is when you set out on anything, you are going to see failures. Like I think you said 300 job interviews. The fact that you're still here, you're still going, that says a lot about you, do you know what I mean? Because, you know, you are going to get failures, but each time you fail, look at why you failed, come back to the drawing board new, start again, yeah? And surround yourself with supportive individuals who uplift and encourage you, and that is a large part of it, because you do basically become the sum of your social circle. If everyone you're hanging around with is negative, is drinking, is smoking weed, aren't trying to get anywhere in life, you're pretty much going to become the same. Or if you do start wanting to do positive stuff and that's your circle, have you heard of the crab bucket mentality?
They pull you back down.
Yeah, so it's like with crabs, one crab starts trying to get out, the other crab's like, nah, get back in here, mate. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. So you've got to think about your social circle. Are they people that are out there trying to do stuff with their lives, trying to improve themselves, or are they people that are just wasting time? Okay? Because those people will also lower your self-esteem. They'll laugh at what you're doing, they'll mock you, all that kind of stuff. But really, that's just them projecting their own lack of confidence. Connection. Cultivate meaningful relationships and build strong support network, which basically ties into exactly what I just said. Foster open and honest communication, practice active listening and offer support to others, and engage in activities that promote a sense of belonging and community. And I'll put in brackets at the bottom there, are you really learning self-esteem, or are you just surrounded by arseholes? Okay, so making sure that circle, okay, that you're hanging around is very important. Contribution, and this is where you find ways to kind of give back to your community, but it's more about actually having a deeper purpose in life, and the purpose is what actually gives you that strength to keep forging ahead. Okay, why are you actually doing what you're doing? Is it just for money? Because you'll quickly find that doing things just for money doesn't become very satisfying. Whereas when, for example, I'm working in education, I'm working with kids, I'm seeing those kids start to improve in school, I'm seeing them start to improve in their home life, all that kind of stuff. That fulfills me on a deep level. Okay, so when times are tough, okay, I'm actually motivated by that, because each day I'm waking up for a reason other than just money. Okay, so you need to think about what is your purpose in life. And another example as well is like, so for example, you have a lady and she smokes and she drinks, okay, and she struggled to quit, but then she gets pregnant, okay? She then quits because she's quitting for the love of her child, and that's her purpose in raising it, yeah? So when you're doing something that's outside of yourself, it's a greater purpose. That often gives you the strength to go and get what you want to get. Control, and I'll put in brackets underneath, you can't control the events that happen to you, you can only control how you react to them, okay? And there's something known as the locus of control. Do you see yourself as in control of what you're doing in your life, or do you purely see yourself as at the mercy of events that happen to you? Okay, and the idea is that you basically worry about what you can control, okay, rather than trying to control every single little thing around you. You let go of what you cannot change and embrace an adaptive mindset. Who knows what adaptability is? Go on.
So I would say it ties into like the whole resilience as well. In a sense, it's like you get hit with a roadblock, or there's an environment which you're alien to in a sense, and you adjust to it in a way that allows you to get your survival done, and then possibly hopefully succeed as well in that.
Yeah, 100% spot on. And you might have your mind set on doing a certain thing and you're absolutely determined to do that, but it might make more sense to actually maybe just to look in a slightly different direction. You can't always necessarily go from A to B in a straight line. Sometimes you might have to go off and do certain other things. So for example, you know, when I lost the gym, I couldn't just go straight back into that, okay? I had to end up going and doing security. I got an SI license. I went and did lots of other little jobs just to keep myself going, to make sure that I could get back to where I wanted to get to, okay? So adaptability is just being able to move with how the things are at the moment. Doesn't mean you necessarily give up on your goal, but sometimes you just do X, Y, and Z. And for example, some of you, like now, you haven't got the jobs you want. Maybe you might just go and get any old job that you can do just to keep yourself going, okay? Just things to think about. But sometimes if you go and work in a slightly different field to what you initially want to, you gain insights and experience and things that you might not necessarily think connect back to what you want to do in the long term. And that's sort of like what I just said, what it says at the bottom: seek alternative solutions and approaches when faced with obstacles, okay? And coping. Develop healthy coping mechanisms to manage stress and adversity. This can include exercise, journaling, or seeking support from trusted friends or professionals. And as I mentioned before earlier, I go for a run when I'm feeling stressed, or I hit the punch bag, or that kind of stuff. And secondly, developing self-awareness, okay? Become aware of when you're procrastinating. I'm massively bad for procrastinating. Who knows what procrastinating is?
Just basically wasting time.
Kind of. Anyone else? Any ideas what procrastination is?
Doing something else that's not your main task at the time.
To a certain extent, yeah, it's putting off what you need to do. So you might know that you have to fill out this job application or write up an essay or something like that, and you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Then tomorrow comes, you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. Then next thing you know, you've got 5 minutes before it's due. Okay, so that's a massive thing. I was massively bad with that, still am. Self-sabotaging. Who knows what self-sabotaging is? Go on.
Could you say to an extent, if you go into an activity in a sense and then you kind of put yourself in a bad mood, so then you automatically are low morale and you don't actually do it as best as you can?
Yeah, sometimes it's often linked to fear of failure. Yeah, so it's this weird psychological defense mechanism. So in order that you think, oh, am I going to fail anyway, or you're scared of success, you actually go in, like you said, you go in a bad mood, or you might do something that just sabotages your efforts, okay? And learning that, becoming aware of things that you do that can cause self-sabotage is a massive part, because I often used to create great opportunities for myself, and on some level I would sabotage it, okay? Sometimes it even manifests as anxiety and that kind of stuff. So deflecting blame. Anyone here deflect blame? Yeah? Do you know what it means, deflecting blame? So yeah, you basically say, well, it was not my fault, it was Tim's fault down the road, but really you're not looking at yourself and taking accountability of the parts that you play in the process of why you're not achieving the results that you get. And last of all, understand what triggers you. There's two triggers. One is anger, and the other one is going into a negative mind spiral where you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. Okay, learning to kind of become aware of these things and work on them and heal them is a big part of achieving success. And last of all of the C's is character. Reflect on your values and align your actions with them. Okay, think about why you're doing what you're doing. Is it really relevant to who you are as a person on a deeper level? Okay, embrace integrity, honesty, and empathy in your interactions with others. Empathize personal growth and embrace challenges as opportunities for character development. Okay, and the last four, these are particularly linked to boxing. Okay, work on building discipline. Okay, who knows what discipline really is? I'll come to you in 1 second. Come on, someone else. What is discipline? What do you think discipline is?
Is it like you have certain standards for yourself and you make sure that you meet them every day, even if you're not feeling it or you're in a bad mood, like that's the standard that you have? Yeah,
good, pretty much. So basically discipline is doing the things you need to do even though you don't want to do them, because they're going to get you to where you want to get, right? When I said do push-ups and sit-ups, who wanted to do the push-ups and sit-ups? Yeah? But for boxing training, in the context of boxing training, you've got to do those things because they get you fitter and stronger. You've got to do the fitness training. Most people don't like the fitness training, they hate it, but you've got to do it. Okay, and it's the same with, you know, your business or whatever else it is you're going to do. You've got to fill out those job applications. You know, maybe set yourself a target of 5 a day or something like that. Do you see what I mean? You know, without discipline and getting there and maintaining it, you won't do it. Okay. Improve your tolerance to distress. Any ideas on that? Go on.
Kind of like keep it together in a sense.
Yeah.
Anxious, or if you're feeling negative, just kind of like keep it together and push through.
So when you're going through hard times, you'll feel anxious, you'll feel upset, you might feel like you're going to have a panic attack, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, by being able to tolerate difficult emotions better, you're just able to hold it together and keep pushing forwards. Okay, and again, this kind of comes from boxing training and why I promote boxing training so much. And it's also linked to learning to manage your emotions. But I'll tell you another story. When you are in competition with people, people try and do things to get a rise out of you or try and get you to behave in certain ways. I was doing interviews, fight interviews, and I had my competitor there, and he basically was acting like he owned the event, and I had to go to him for permission to get interviews with the other fighters. Okay. He then started getting like saying things like being mouthy to me, and we're at a boxing event. Bear in mind this is a big boxing event, and there was a boxing ring over there where the fighters were fighting, and I said, listen mate, you're going to get mouthy, we can go and get in the boxing ring over there. And he went, I'll tell you what, we'll go outside and have out the back and have a fight out there. So I was like, yeah, come on then. We go out the back, we end up starting fighting in the hall. Okay, and the whole people are there are turning around and they're watching us and everything like that, and then the bouncer will come over, we're being thrown out, and I couldn't do any more interviews for that promotion anymore, and he's basically triggered me into anger and caused me to behave in a way that really I shouldn't have done, so he's gotten the advantage there. So when I say learn to manage your emotions, if people know they can get a rise out of you, if they know they can make you angry, they can control you, basically. And it's also again linked to things such as like if you're feeling a bit low, feeling a bit depressed, that kind of stuff, being able to bring yourself out of that mood and that mindset and get yourself carrying on with what you need to do. And last of all, being courageous and stepping out of your comfort zone. Okay, so for some of you this might just mean going to a new area, maybe considering working in a different area, going to the gym on your own, that kind of stuff. Okay, because you can only progress so far when you live within your comfort zone. And I like to say that basically when you train your body, you're training your mind. Who remembers doing the plank at the end? Okay, if you can't, like when you're feeling that pain and you're holding it together, okay, you're actually training your mind to be stronger in other situations of stress. Okay. And the best way to understand these concepts is through physical activity. So for example, when we're doing the plank, you understand mental strength. It's easy to think, right, I'm strong when you're feeling strong and you're feeling good, but it's when you're feeling weak, that's when being strong actually matters. Okay, but you don't really understand that till you're in that position. One of the most common problems that many people face is something known as apathy. Okay, when I first came in here today, most of you were all sat there like, you were looking a bit glum. Yeah, and I understand it because you're kind of in this position of your life where you're not sure what's going to be happening, where your life's going, etc., etc. And like you said, some of you have done 300 applications. It's pretty hard not to start getting defeated after that. Do you know what I mean? But you know, this is part of the reason we're doing the seminar today. Okay, because I'm trying to just give you a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of a different way of thinking about things and thinking, right, how can I bring myself out of this situation? And why is that not working? As I just said, a little bit of inspiration combined with determination, courage and discipline are the antidote. You know, wake up every day and tell yourself, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to make my life better. I'm going to achieve what I want to get, and believe it, and you will do it. And just some small nuggets of wisdom for when times are tough. Okay. The only thing that is constant is change. Whatever it is you're going through now, it won't last forever, okay? And that is literally just a fact of reality, yeah? The only thing that is constant is change. Reality is changing constantly from 1 minute to the next, yeah? So even though you're in a difficult situation now, before you know it, things will be better, okay? It's not going to be this way forever. The root cause of all suffering is attachment. As things are always changing, when you're attached to material goods and that kind of thing, inevitably at some point your material goods are going to disappear or they're going to change in some form. Okay, so that will bring you suffering at some point. Okay, so part of feeling relaxed and more free as a person is just practicing non-attachment, okay, to the things that you have. 99% of suffering is in the mind. Our thoughts about our situation affect our feelings, and changing your thoughts changes your feelings. So you can think about your situations that you're in now as just hopeless and, you know, not going anywhere, or you can think this is a life challenge that I've got to overcome. This is part of my growth as a human. This is teaching me what I need to be doing as an adult and moving forwards in order to be someone that can look after myself and a family, for example. So you can see it in different frames, okay? So change the way you think about it, changes how you feel. Learn not to sweat the small stuff. If it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes stressing about it. How many of you in here, for example, find that one of your clothes is dirty or something like that and you get stressed out about it for the whole day, or someone says something to you and then you're pissed off for the whole day? Yeah, learning not to let little things bother you is a massive part of resilience. Have patience, and there's a saying, the longest journeys start with a single step. One step further each day equals miles over the years. So as long as you're getting up each day and you're taking action, you will get to where you want to get. And hope is all that matters, okay? As long as you think things can be better and you take action towards that, things will be better, okay? It's only over when you give up, okay? It's only over when you drop from doing the plank, yeah? Okay, so I'm just going to give you some last little actionable tips. Always work on your health, fitness and mental strength. Seek out challenges and constantly expand your knowledge. Take calculated risks and go for gold. Be accountable for your actions and appreciate what you've got right now, because at the moment I'm sure that there's far worse situations off that you could be in than what you've got, okay? That's the end of the seminar. Any questions around resilience?
Go on. Like, what struck me was a lot of the challenges you had.
Yeah.
Was there any point where you genuinely felt like giving up everything, or it was?
I think I have questioned my life paths and my life choices and why I'm doing what I'm doing quite a few times, and there's been times where I've thought, that's it, like I'm over. But there's also part of me, I'm very determined, like getting me to give up on something, you almost have to kill me to make me do that, do you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, I wake up each day and I know what my purpose is, I know why I'm doing it, and, you know, I just get on with it, basically. Do you have any ideas about kind of what you want to do or where you want to go?
Yeah, no, because I think one thing that struck me was the take a different path to what you want to do, because with what I'm starting in September is pretty much completely different to what I was expecting to get out of uni. But then I think you said a good thing, like you'll learn some things from that other path that you can apply, which, yeah, I think that's quite a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was really one of the hardest things for me to do, just completely change what I was doing and move away from my brand, which is Boxing Evolution and everything, because obviously, yeah, it was me, it was my whole identity, you know, and then to lose it and have nothing within the space of a day or so, you know, it's heartbreaking, it's soul destroying, you know, and then having to go and work in security, and I'm stood there and I'm like next to this wall and I'm looking at people and I'm like, I've got someone bossing me around now. Before I was my own boss, and next thing I've been bossed around by someone, you know, but you just got to do it. But the skills that I learned from doing the security have played so massively into everything else that I do, particularly in terms of conflict management and just how I handle situations and that kind of thing. And then what I then teach that to other people when I do seminars like this. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts, but you know, you learn so much different stuff. Any other questions around resilience? How did you find the boxing training?
I think it was needed.
Yeah? Do you think it helped you? Gave you a little bit of motivation? Are you going to keep going with any fitness training and stuff now?
Hopefully I'm not 100% there yet.
Yeah.
It's given me a bit of like a motivation to get fitter.
Yeah.
I think I've lost a bit of fitness since leaving uni, but made me realise that and try and push.
And you've got to think of your body like a system, yeah? if it's not functioning well in terms of fitness, in terms of nutrition, everything like that, that then reflects in your energy levels and your ability to concentrate and your motivation and everything like that. So by taking care of your body, and also like with the boxing, it's self-defense, so that then replays into confidence. You know, when you're interacting with people, when you're going for a job interview, are you looking them in the eye or are you looking at the floor? Yeah, all that kind of stuff, you know, it all adds up to the bigger picture. So the more you take care of yourself on that emotional, physical, mental level, it emanates out into everything else you do. But all right, guys, thank you for this, coming today, and I wish you all the best of luck with finding jobs in the future. All right, cheers.